All right, good evening. Let me know if you can hear me. Let me know if you can see me. I need to put other camera on here. Can you hear me and see me?
I can. It's a thing through it.
Yeah, I'm about to switch my camera. I gotta get it. I was in here taking a nap and I looked up. I was like, oh, wait a minute. It was about to be 7 o'clock. But I am here. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I appreciate you. All right, there we go. Why?
Am I the only person here? I can't hear.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Yes. Hair look crazy, but look, we here, okay?
Right.
Let me get back to my slides. And then my daughter, she had a whole meltdown. I'm like, all right, I gotta get on my call. She like, but I want to stay in the room with you. I'm like, girl, get
That sounds about right.
out. And she's still down there crying. I'm like, girl.
That sounds about right.
All right. Let me get back to my slides. Okay, this is our monthly Soul Care Sunday social. This is one of my favorite events. Definitely, once you experience it, spread the word about it. Give me some feedback on it, because when I think of self care, when people talk about it, I'm thinking like bubble baths and, like the regular stuff. But the reason why I created this event was because I want us to have a plan to be able to take care of our whole self, spiritually, mentally, physically,
Mm.
emotionally, financially. Okay, because that's
Mhm.
a big part of our self care,
Yeah.
a big part of our overall well being. For me, when I used to be all financially, everything else just was like.
Yeah.
So I want us to be intentional about even our financial self care as well.
Mhm.
When we talk about planning for our self care for the week, really talking about our whole self and what our whole self needs. So feel free to introduce yourself. Let us know what you do, where you're from, and what you hope to gain from tonight's session.
Okay, so since it's me so far, um, thank you for having this platform and for the invite. My name is Kenyana, and am I live in the Carolinas, and I am a loan signing agent. And what I hope to get from the session, because the title alone grabbed my attention. Soul Care Sunday, and I am a big proponent of self care, and of course, my spiritual care is paramount for me. So I attend church on Sundays. I attend church more than just Sunday, but um, yeah, but self care is very important, and I find that a lot of people, a lot of women, a lot of melanated women, we don't we don't tap into that part of ourselves. We're on autopilot a lot, and so I just find that this is very important. So the title alone grabbed my attention, and I was definitely interested. So I hope to gain from this experience community and to see what everybody else has to offer in terms of self care, in terms of the total person, the total being.
Yes, I love that. And hopefully it'll be, more people will hop on and join. But if not, it'll just be me and you, and we can build community
Okay,
with just us two.
we
Okay.
don't know because it don't take all it don't take a village. Well, it do take a village, but
Look,
listen,
it say where two or three are gathered.
he
Okay.
is in the midst. Yes, amen.
um, but yes, it is important for us as melanated women to take care of ourselves. We've literally been conditioned to believe that we got to put everybody else before ourselves, that we
Yes.
literally got to sacrifice ourselves. We got to do everything for everybody else. And then what's left, the little dribblets and droplets at the end, at the bottom of the
Mhm.
cup, that's for us.
Yes.
But what I have learned and what I really share with other people is to, when it comes to your self-care, when it comes to your soul care, to literally fill your cup up to overflow and only
Mm.
give for your from your overflow and keep what's in your cup for you.
Mm.
Show up so much more efficiently, so much more effectively when you're not sacrificing all of what you have to give to other people.
Mm.
And like I said, like we're not taught that. We're taught to literally give everything, sacrifice everything,
Yeah.
give literally the shirts off of our backs for other people.
Mhm.
But when we do that, I've seen people be enabled by the sacrifices of us as Black women,
Mm.
because they're expecting us to go above and beyond, to do everything for them, to be there every time that they call, every time that they need something. But when it's time for us to need something,
Mhm.
no one's anywhere to be found.
No one's coming to save you.
No
Right.
one at all.
Right. Lord have mercy.
So it teaches and conditions people, when you say, you know what, this is all I'm going to give, and this is it,
Yeah.
whatever's left, what's in my cup is for me. It conditions people to know how to treat you, and it conditions people to be able to learn, okay, I got to do it for myself.
Mhm.
And that was huge for me because I watched my mom, and still do to this day, watch my
Mhm.
mom give everything to everyone else. And then when she's in need or when she's going through something, there's no one to be found.
Right. That's right.
So, a little bit about me. I'm Minister Jalisa Hardy. I'm a child of Yahuwah, aka God. I'm also known as the Golden Child. If you want to know a little bit more about that, the miracle that occurred in my mother's womb that allowed me to even understand what miracles are and where that came from,
Mm.
please check out my website, jalisahardy.com. I'm a co-organizer for the Mental Wealth Social, organizer for Single Mom Society, and the Empower Birth Tribe. All of these spaces are on meetup.com. I am a survivor, a single mother of three. My kids are 5, 4, and 3. My little one, my youngest one, he just turned 3 on April 2nd.
Woo.
I'm a global speaker, trauma and money certified professional, board certified holistic health practitioner, human design expert, Reiki master, a publisher, self published author. I'm in the process of writing my 4th book. I have bachelor's degrees in chemistry, biology, and natural health. I'm a poet, singer, and songwriter. I just recently did a performance not too long ago with the Voices of Survival Choir. I was born in Buffalo, New York, but live in Glen Burnie, Maryland.
Mm.
And I am in the process of becoming a doula. And then I love to say that I'm just me. I'm just Jalisa. There's only one me in the entire world. There's only one you in the entire world. And I have learned that that is my purpose because God created me uniquely. He gave me unique
Yeah,
experiences, it literally down to my DNA being unique. He placed me on this earth for a specific reason that no one else can fulfill.
listen.
So that is why our mission here at the Golden Child is to guide you to see and be your most authentic self, uncover and release limiting beliefs, and unleash the golden child within. Yes, I do call myself the golden child, but I believe that everyone is a golden child because there are literal miracles happening on our behalf for our hearts to continue to beat, for us to continue to breathe air,
Mm,
for us to continue
mm,
to be. So when we can step into that and understand that we have a place, a purpose, a calling on our lives, and there's a specific reason for us to be
mm.
here, we can unleash that golden child and walk in our purpose and walk in our true calling. Um, So I offer a bunch of different things. I do a bunch of different things. I have other paid communities, the Heal Money Movement, if you desire to work on your relationship with money and really get to a space and place where you're
Mhm.
building wealth with ease. That is a space for you. My Birth Your Book Boot Camp just recently launched where I am supporting aspiring authors through an 8-week program with going from even if they just have an idea or if they have a manuscript to ready to publish or even publish during that 8-week program. It's very personalized and customized experience. If you are not sure where to get started when it comes to self-publishing, the Birth Your Book consultation call, that is for that, for us to have a conversation to see where you are, what support you need, and how I can support you on your self-publishing journey. So that's just a few things that we offer. Everything is on my website at jalisahardy.com. Oh, moving too fast. Um, I am also on YouTube, where I post a lot of content, a lot of information, wisdom, knowledge. My events are live streamed there. But I'm working on building this YouTube community so that I can get more, just build more community and get more people's eyes on what it is that I'm doing and share the information, wisdom, and knowledge that God has given me to share with others. So my YouTube is at Jalisa the Golden Child as well. Upcoming events. Every single Monday, we do our co working and accountability session. And that is just a space for us to come together, bring the work, bring the things that we need to work on to come together and hold each other accountable, give each other feedback and encouragement on the things that we're working on. Book Talk Tuesday is not your average book club. It's really for us to come together, share the wisdom, knowledge, information, and insights from the books that we're reading. Probably these past 2 months, I've been talking about the book Psycho Cybernetics, but I just recently started rereading a book called Happy Pocket Full of Money. And then in line with the theme for the month, which is making money moves and building wealth with ease. So I'll be sharing more about a happy pocket full of money on the book talks this month. I have a partnership with Black Girls Wellness where they have a every Wednesday empowerment series. I've attended a few, and other members have attended a few, and they have thoroughly enjoyed these sessions. We have a member who will be doing a grant writing workshop. So if you have a business or if your corporation wants more information around getting and securing grants, that workshop will be on April 17th. Another partnership we have is with Black Girls Grieve. They have a grief circle for melanated women where they come together and talk about different forms of grief, different aspects of grief, and it's just a very safe and enlightening space to process and navigate through grief. Fridays, I do my podcast. Those that are in my groups have the opportunity to join me on Zoom, and then it is streamed to YouTube. Of course, our Black Women Journal Social is every second and fourth Thursday or Friday of the month. And then in my other groups, I have a monthly session, the pregnancy and birth empowerment session, and the Empowerment Birth Tribe. And then in Single Mom Society, we do a monthly support social. So those are our upcoming events. I want to do a quick grounding breath before we get into our session.
Mm.
And for me, like I said, I just woke up from a nap, so I'm pretty grounded. Okay, but it's always a gift to just breathe and be
Mhm.
intentional about how we're breathing. So it's going to be a box breath where you do inhale for 4 counts, hold for 4 counts, exhale for 4 counts, and then hold for another four, and then repeat the cycle.
Mhm.
Okay. And you can check in with your body to see where your tension might be, where you might be holding on to things, and intentionally breathe into those spaces as we go through these 3 cycles.
Mhm.
You can close your eyes or keep them open, whichever is most comfortable for you. And I will guide you through. But as always, take what you need, take what your body needs, and just listen to what your body is telling you in this moment. All right. Breathe in, hold, release, hold. Breathe in, hold, release, hold. Last time, breathe in, hold, release, hold, and return to your normal breath. Again, checking in with your body, seeing if the tension released or if you need some additional movement or attention to that space to intentionally release the stress, release the distractions, release anything that might come in the way of you preparing and planning for this month of self care, of soul care, of just being intentional about doing what you need to do for you. No, please get out of my room, baby. I'm on a call. Please get out of my room. I'm on a call. Thank you, baby. Close my door, please. No, please don't ask me for anything right now. Close my door, please. Close my door, please. The answer is no. And that is why I have to be intentional about my breathing because,
I understand 3 times over.
yes. Um, so in this space, throughout my journey of self-care, of soul care, really just being intentional about knowing what's aligned, knowing what is best for me each day, each moment. I've learned about something called kinesthetic muscle testing. And I'm going to go deeper into it. But my process of this and where I've come to, I have a list of daily nourishing activities. And again, it touches on the spiritual, the mental, the physical, the emotional, the financial, all of those things, just a list of those things for me to choose from.
Mhm.
But what I started doing was muscle testing to see what is most aligned. So what I do, I get up in the morning, I will, do my regular prayer, read my scripture, meditate on that, and then go into looking at this list and I muscle test to see what is most aligned for me to really work on and really implement for the day for my soul care.
Mhm.
Um, and it has been a literal game changer because day to day, our body and our being needs something different.
Mhm.
And we can have like routines or certain things that we do. Like I said, I do my prayer, like literally my prayer and my scripture, that does not change. But our body, our being needs certain things, especially as we prepare for certain seasons, as we prepare for, certain things that might come up during the workday or with our kids or whatever the case may be. And the more intentional we can be about seeing what's most aligned, especially starting your day with these daily nourishing activities, that goes into pouring into your cup to overflow, so that throughout the day you're able to pull and pour from the overflow and keep what's in your cup for you.
Okay.
Um, so my list, of course, it has changed. I've added things, I've taken things off, I've shifted things. But it's just something to be able to pull from. I'd like to say to prepare for war in times of peace,
Mm.
because there's always so much
Mm.
going on, always so much going on in the
Yeah.
world, always so much going on in our lives. So the more intentional we can be about having things that reserve of of in our cup, it'll be easier for us to navigate. Just like my kids coming in the room, instead of me
Right.
popping off and yelling at them, I'm like, you know what?
Right.
You're not going to take me out of my place of peace.
That's
I'm
right.
gonna just go ahead and close and lock my door, and you're gonna be on the other side of it having your little temper tantrum, and it's not gonna bother
Mhm. That's right.
me. So, a little bit more into what muscle testing is. It's also known as applied kinesiology. It is a non-invasive method used to tap into our body's innate wisdom. It is said that our body keeps the score. So when we
Mhm.
tap into our body's wisdom, our body will tell us whether something is right for us or not right for us, whether something is
Mhm.
aligned or not aligned. It literally gives us the opportunity to assess our body's response to a certain stimuli, helping us to identify imbalances, emotional blocks, or the effectiveness of choices like foods, supplements, or affirmations.
Mhm.
Even with my affirmations, my supplements, I have my supplements on this list as well, and I check in to see which supplement is in line for me to take today, or
Mhm.
this morning, whatever the case may be.
Mhm.
Because, like I said, our body shifts and changes so much.
Yeah.
The more we can customize and personalize, giving it what it needs, the more effectively our body will work, the more effectively our being will work, so that it is feeding off of what we're giving it and responding to that, because it's like, "Ooh, this is exactly what I need." Versus it just being, "Oh, I do this every day, or I take this every day." Our body's like, That's okay. Okay, it's good," but
Mhm.
it's not exactly what I need. Muscle testing is based on the idea that the body's muscles respond differently to positive and negative stimuli. When the body encounters something it aligns with, the muscle stays strong. And conversely, when something is off or imbalanced, the muscle weakens. So, have you ever heard of muscle testing?
No, I have not.
Okay. So, I'm excited. Okay. I'm
Kinesiology,
excited for
I've
you to
heard
be.
the term, but muscle testing, no.
Yes. It is, when I say it has literally just been a game changer, because it, in addition to being able to check in and see what your body needs, it gives you the opportunity to be mindful and to
Mm.
be present to where you are in the moment. And I believe that the more present we can be, because the only time that we have is now, the
Yeah.
less time we can focus on the past, the less time we can focus on the future, the
Yeah.
less we're anxious because we're trying to think about what's going to happen, the what ifs of
Mm.
the past. The less time we can do that, and the more present we can be, the more peace we have.
Mm.
So this
Mm.
gives us an opportunity to be present and really tune in and tap into our body's innate wisdom to see what is aligned, what's not aligned, even in relationships. I'm telling
Yeah.
you, like, I meet somebody and I'm muscle testing, checking in to see, like, what is my body telling me about this person? Being a single
Right.
mom, I'm like, look, I want to be very intentional going through what I went through with my
Yeah.
ex-husband. I'm like,
Yeah.
look, I'm very intentional about who I allow into my space, who I spend time with,
Mm.
who I'm texting back and forth, because those things are constantly pulling energy from us,
They're
even
taking,
if it's
yes,
just
yes,
short
yes,
encounters.
yes. Yes.
Go ahead. It sounds like you got more
No,
to that.
I was just getting ready to say it's somebody. It's interesting that you mentioned that because it's somebody that's been, this. came out of the blue, and I went to school with this person and they've been texting me and oh, I always had a crush on you and this and that and da da da. And they just like and I'm just not in that place. Like I'm just in a place of healing right now. So
Yeah.
I'm not in that place. And it's like you want to, how do I, say to this person, I'm just not there. I'm not in that headspace. I don't mind having a conversation, but now I've essentially become almost avoidant, or just not. I'm not as available. Like, hey, where you at, or whatever. They'll text me and like, well, we listen. Don't ask me where I am because I don't even know you like that. So yeah. So I'm what you're saying is because I'm like, yeah, that's really pulling energy away from me because it's a situation that I'm just not really even into it. It's just okay, I can have a conversation, but do I need to have a conversation if I'm not interested?
Hmm.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's really just it's extra energy going out when I'm doing something else, which is healing.
Yep. It's taken away from that healing. It is not to say that anything is wrong with it or it's a right or wrong way to do it, but the more in tune we can be with ourselves, we'll see that.
Right. Because I do.
So,
I heal, it's just for like, hey, honey, this and that. I'm just like, what? So that's like it's almost like a repellent because that's not in where I am. I'm not there.
yep. Yep.
So yeah, so now I'm questioning, man, why am I even entertaining this? I shouldn't even be talking because I'm just not there.
Yep. And like I said, the more present and self-aware we can
Mhm.
be, the more intentional we'll be about those interactions to say, you know what,
Mhm.
this isn't serving me in this season. If you're here in the next season or whatever the case may
Yeah,
be, then sure. But in this season, I'm focused on me. I'm focused on my
yeah,
healing. And you can respect it or not.
yeah,
But that sounds like a personal problem to me.
yeah.
Okay.
Got it. Yeah. Cause you don't want to be and I know it's perfectly they're not being, they're harmless. And I recognize that, but it's just that it's the place that I'm in. And so it's like, oh man, how do I address this? So, cause I just been quiet. And so then they'll come with, oh, where you at? You just this and that. And I'm just like, why would you ask me that? I don't even know you like that. You know, but I don't say that. But now is just hearing this is like, it's okay. It's okay to say, I'm just not right there. I'm not sure what happened.
Hey, can you hear me? I don't know
Yes,
what
I
the heck
can.
happened. My Zoom literally, I'm talking and I see it, it's a blue light on my camera and it cut off. I'm like, what the heck is going on? I look at Zoom. Zoom is not on.
Oh, it went off. Yeah, I just said, let me be patient because I know things can happen too.
Let me pull my slides back up. Okay, can you see the slides again?
Not yet. Okay, yeah, I can now. So the
Okay.
application of muscle testing, yeah, I can see it.
Yes. So like I said, this is something that has changed as I've learned, as I've grown, as I've really applied muscle testing to, just checking in and seeing what's aligned, what's not aligned. But the more aware, the more calm, the more peaceful you can be, the more effective it is. But again, even in like moments where it's a lot of stuff going on, the more you use it, the more you'll be able to use it in those moments. But definitely starting out, be intentional about having a calm and clear space,
Mhm.
being well hydrated because dehydration can affect your body's response to the stimuli. And be clear about your intentions. Be clear about what you're testing. Is this supplement beneficial? Is this person beneficial?
Right.
Is this is this food beneficial? Is this a yes? Is this a no? And that's usually what I started when I began muscle testing. I would start out with asking my body to show me a yes or show me a no, and I'll give you some more information about techniques. Um, but again, it's just a time for you to be very intentional about being in tune with and checking in with what your body needs and what it
Mhm.
doesn't, what's aligned and what's not aligned. Common techniques.
Should we
There's
be
an
taking
arm
pictures of
resistance.
these slides?
You said what?
I said, should I be taking pictures of these slides?
Yeah,
Well,
you can.
I'm writing some of it down.
Okay. Yeah, you can.
Okay, I'm ready. I'm here.
Um, but the arm resistance test, that's more of a you can muscle test other people can muscle test with you. You can muscle test other people. I do this sometimes with my kids, my mom, just to kind of check in and see like what they need. Um, but it's also something that you can do by yourself as well. And it's really holding your arm out parallel to the ground, having a partner or yourself to like starting out, show me a yes, and your arm will either lock and you won't be able to push it down, or you'll say show me a no, and once you apply pressure, your arm will drop. And again, it's introducing different stimuli, observing the change, observing the strength, observing how the muscle moves or doesn't move, but using statements, using food, and then really just checking in with what your body's response is to them. The other one and a couple other ones, there are a bunch of ways to muscle test, but the finger loop method, and this is one of the ones that I've used more often. More recently switched to using one hand, but this finger loop method, you use your index finger and your thumb. You
Mhm.
make a circle and you interlock your other index finger and your thumb within that, making a figure eight.
Mhm.
And what you do starting out, like I said, to ask your body to show you a yes. And for me, it locks and I'm not able to pull it open. And then I'll say, show me a no. And I'll try to pull it open and it'll unlock and it'll open.
Oh,
And again, it's really depending on your body. That's why I say show me a yes and show me a no, because for some people a strong loop means misalignment, a weak loop means alignment. So when you check in with your body, it'll show you what a yes is and what a no is, and then um, you'll be able to continue to test from there.
so
There's also a
so
sway
the
test.
weak loop is alignment.
So it, like I said, it depends on your body. A strong loop can
Okay.
mean alignment, a weak loop can mean misalignment, or your body could be the opposite.
Okay.
So that's why checking in with your body in the beginning to ask your body, show me a yes, show me a no,
Okay. Right.
and that'll give you what your body's response is. Because I've
Okay.
had people
All
say, "Oh well," and when I say show me a yes, it unlocks, or
right.
so it just depends on your body.
Okay.
The sway test is also where you can make sure that your feet are on the ground, no shoes on, standing upright, your feet shoulder width apart, closing your eyes, relaxing, and asking a yes or no question. Again, starting out with show me a yes and show me a no. Your body may sway forward to indicate a yes or backward to indicate a no. But this is another way for you to be in tune and really paying attention to your body, because again, it might be a very slight sway. So the more calm, the more present you can be, the more you'll be able to understand what's a yes and what's a no. Like I said, there are a bunch of different ways to muscle test, but the most common one is, well, the most common one that I really started using was the finger loop method.
Mm,
I now switched to just using two fingers and
mm,
just show me a yes, and it'll stay locked, or show me a no, and then it'll. But again, that came with a lot of practice, a lot of testing, a lot of really just practicing, just to see what my body's responses are.
mm.
Um, but the finger loop method is one of the most common ones that I've heard people talk about.
Okay.
So again, going into some practical uses, your wellness choices, you can muscle test for foods, supplements, personal care items. I even do it for, my skincare items, the different lotions and different things that we put on our bodies, emotional healing, being able to, this has been a game changer for me to be able to identify when you have those limiting beliefs come up, check
Mm,
where they're coming from, whether it was, from somewhere else, another source, is it somebody else's
mm.
belief, and being able to identify it helps you to release it.
Okay.
And then checking in to see what affirmations resonate for you in different seasons or for different days. Also with decision making, testing alignment for decisions, plans, actions. I literally, when it comes down to like even like planning out my events, I'm muscle testing and checking in to see what's aligned for me to talk about, what's aligned for me to share, so that I'm not just doing things just because, like you said, like you mentioned, being on autopilot, just showing up, just sharing things, just doing things. But this gives me so much more alignment and intentionality to the things that
Mhm.
I'm doing, because I know what's aligned, what my body and what my being is telling me. So, any questions about muscle testing or the application of it, or anything as far as how I've used it?
No, it's pretty self-explanatory, and also you just covered quite a few things. If I had any questions, I would have asked. I When you were doing the loop method, I did it too,
Okay.
and I was like, okay, I like that. I like the loop method.
Yeah, because you can see, you can feel a difference. You
Yeah,
like, oh, that's a yes. Oh, that's a no. So as
yeah,
you go, throughout your day, throughout, even if you decide to create a list of, nourishing activities to check in to see like what's in line, even checking in, conversations with the guy, like, is this a yes? Is this a no? Is he
right,
aligned? Is he not aligned? So
right.
just really checking in and being able to use that is definitely been a powerful tool. So thinking about how to really check in with the different aspects of our being,
Mm,
this a five bodies awareness assessment, we can sit with each body, but today we're going to pick one, whether it's spiritual, physical, energetic, mental, emotional, financial, just really checking in to see which body is needs the most attention right now,
mm,
and sitting with that specific part of you and like trying to see it as a separate part of you. Of course it's a part of you, but trying to really envision sitting with this part of you as if it was separate from you,
mm,
thinking about and listening to what, um how it feels, what it looks like, what color is it, as it is now, how is it feeling, Is it being taken care of? Is it in harmony with your other bodies? What does it need, require, and desire? Because again, each aspect of who we are needs something different. And the more intentional we can be about sitting with those different parts of ourselves and listening, the more we'll be able to be intentional about planning our self care, planning our soul care to say, okay,
Mhm.
this aspect of who I am, this aspect of my life needs my attention right now. And it's telling me that it needs XYZ. So a lot of times we don't even stop to think about it. We're just again going on autopilot, like, oh, this is what I've done, so this is what I'm going to keep doing. But the
Mhm.
more that we can sit with the separate parts of ourselves, the more intentional we can be. In addition to using a muscle testing, in addition to your spiritual practices, it'll really give you insight, wisdom, and knowledge on how to move forward in a way that is aligned and that is best for you and the different parts of you. So I'm going to set a timer for 3 minutes. You can decide which part of you to really sit with. And again, this is something that you can take from this event to sit with each part of you
Mhm.
moving forward to see what it looks like, what it feels like, and really get to know that part of you on a deeper level. Like I said, today we're going to take 3 minutes and pick um whichever aspect is speaking the loudest to you right now. Take
Right.
3 minutes to sit with it, see what comes up from that, and then we'll come back to discuss.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to go on mute and set the timer, then I will be back in 3 minutes to check in.
Okay.
All right, that was our 3 minute timer. Let me know if
Mhm.
you need more time.
Mm, no, I think I'm good.
Okay. So I can share what came up for me. So the body that came up as far as just checking in for this awareness is my financial body.
Mhm,
The first thing that came up was soft life, ease, and flow.
mm,
And that has been a journey because I was taught to, work hard, grind, hustle, go after it, go get it, do it. That's how you make the money. That's how you get things going. That's how you build financial freedom. But more recently, I've really been learning how to just choose ease, just choose flow, and just
mm,
allow the flow of finances and money to come into my life. Yes, of course, faith without works, is
mm.
dead, but we don't have to overwork or, kill ourselves to be in a space where we want to be financially. But what it looked like was white light shining, beaming, glowing. It said, "Thank you for taking care of me and for being patient and understanding." Reminded me to continue to walk by faith and not sight. Reminded me to stop hustling and grinding, to release the worry, choose peace, and that we are in harmony. So that was what came up for me. What about you?
That's really good. Really, really good. And of course, I know mine will definitely take more practice. But
Yeah,
I guess more so the body that comes up for me that mostly the mental emotional.
yeah,
And that's because of the space that I'm in for my healing, just healing myself. Um, so that for me really looked like uh, just being in a place of calm,
hmm,
quiet. I'll say solitude. Um, I didn't really get like a color or
hmm,
anything like that. So I guess mine is mostly more present based, I guess, where I
yeah,
am. And then I'll just decree and declare the desire, which is to be more balanced, to be more controlled in the area of my emotions and more balanced mentally and emotionally. But I really could easily touch on all five of these.
yes. When we're going through, if go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead. No, I'm listening.
Yeah, when we're going through different life experiences, of course, the different parts of ourselves is going to show up differently. It's going to need different things, but it's all connected. Just like you might be going through something mentally and emotionally, or you might be going through something financially, and it's affecting all the other areas of our lives. We're literally a whole being. That's why I have
Exactly.
these events so that we can be more intentional about tapping in and tuning into the different parts of our being but working to harmonize them because it's all impacting the other areas. And like there's a quote
Exactly.
that says how you do one thing is how you do everything. So when
Mm,
you focus on, the loudest body in that moment, the other areas of your being is being nourished as well because it's all connected.
mm,
So it doesn't always have to be all the bodies every single time. It could be one or two. It could be, it might be some seasons where you need to, do something small for all the different bodies. But again, it's being
that,
intentional. The more present you can be, the more aware you can be,
mm,
the more you'll know, okay, this month or this week or today, I'm just going to focus on this aspect of my being and know and have the faith and belief that even though I'm just focusing on this aspect of my being, all the other areas are being nourished as well because it's all connected.
exactly.
So,
And I mean, it makes sense. I tell people
yes.
often in terms of finances, our relationship with money the, affects our relationships, and a
Mhm.
lot of people don't believe that. So it's just this is it's so many different things that we could touch on, but I definitely appreciate this exercise. That's why I just said I could easily speak to either one of these, but because this is the space that I'm in at the moment. I've just experienced a lot of grief this
Yeah.
past year, So that's the place I'm in. And I'm feeling like, I just need to take a pause and uh, just be in solitude and kind of take a deeper look at what's going on with me mentally, emotionally, because it's affecting these other areas,
Hmm.
especially physically.
Yeah,
So
yeah. And our body is usually usually the last one to kind of join the party. Like if you're experiencing physical stuff, it
mhm,
really starts spiritual first. It really
exactly.
starts
Yep,
energetically first. The more intentional we can be about really seeing in those areas and aspects of our lives, the less our physical body will be affected. But our body is
exactly. But
usually the
then
last one to show up to the
once your
party.
body gets in on the party, it's like, here's the thing. Here's the
That's
thing.
when you know, like it's
Go lay
literally
down
red
somewhere
flags.
or go to
Okay.
the emergency room because you're not okay.
Exactly. So
Mhm.
the more intentional we can be about really tuning into the different areas and aspects of our lives, the less our body will have to deal with those things that come up, the dis-ease that comes up,
Yeah.
the pains, the aches, and the the discomfort that we experience physically. But again, even if it does get to that point, it's a message.
It's
Like,
trying to tell
okay,
you
let me
something.
sit down, let me sit back, let me see what's going on, where is this coming
Yes.
from, and you can use muscle testing for that. If you
Mhm.
have a headache one day, like,
One
am
moment,
I
Jay.
dehydrated? Is it something that's going on with me
Uh,
spiritually? Is it something that's going on with me mentally and
I'm with you.
emotionally? Because it's not always just, oh, I just got a headache. Let me take a pill. So that is why like I said, I use muscle testing all the time when I'm having an ache or a pain, my back is hurting or something like that. I'm like, okay, where's this coming from, and what do I need to do in this moment to be able to address this?
Yes, yes. Um, I agree 100%. So yeah, I just agree 100%.
Yes.
And I've been in that place. I'm in that place where, yeah, the physical end up joining the party because I was just on autopilot, like I said,
Hmm.
and my physical health was like, listen, you're going to sit down somewhere. That's enough. And I had to start looking at what is my body telling me. And really, if we caught this thing, like you were saying, and I really appreciate what you're doing. Because if we caught this thing at the spiritual level or at the energetic level, or even just the emotional level,
Hmm.
it doesn't have to become physical. And then but when it gets to that point, that's when we're questioning. That's when we start questioning, man, what is my body trying to tell me? When really you're getting messages before,
Hmm.
but we're not listening because we're on autopilot. And so
Yeah.
then when the body says that's enough, now it's like, oh man, what is my body trying to tell me? But you missed it all those other times.
Hmm. Because, like you said, it's so much going on. We have so many roles, so many responsibilities, so many other things that is pulling our attention away from our being. That's why it's like, oh, now let me do something. But the more preventative and the more intentional we can be by checking in with the spiritual, checking in with the energetic, checking in with the mental and emotional, because like you said, they're always giving us signs, always sending us messages, always letting us know, all right, all right, okay.
Yep.
You got to switch some stuff up. You got to change some stuff. You got to release some things. You
Yeah.
got to, be intentional about being open to certain things in certain aspects in certain situations. But the more aware we can be, the more intentional we can be, the less our physical body will show those signs because we're being more preventative than anything. We're being more intentional about not waiting until we feel the physical to say, okay, now let me do something about it.
Hmm. Yeah.
It's something you
Oh.
said about finances as far as it, it really shows your relationship with others. It's a reflection. Your relationship with money, your relationship with other people is a
Mhm.
reflection of your relationship with yourself.
With yourself. Mm. Listen, come through, ma'am. I didn't I didn't say anything, but and I do. I have a coaching certification, and
Okay.
that was one of the things that I would tell people that I would talk to, just somebody in particular. They would struggle in that area, and I mean, they are financially, man. I wouldn't mind having their six figure, but that's an area that they struggle in, and I ultimately, and I didn't tell them that. I just we kept talking it through until they came to it.
Hmm.
Like, but what's happening here that keeps happening? Why is this thing causing this thing? So we would talk it through until they actually came to it. And they were like, it sounds like you're saying my relationship with money is, yeah, it is. It's affecting your other relationships. And it has something to do with how you view yourself. Like what so yeah. So and I'm listen, I don't make no six figures, but I do that's important to me. Finances and how to manage it. Like that's very important to me because
Yeah.
like you were saying, man, I want a soft life. I want to be able to take a nap when I feel like taking a nap. And
Okay.
I want to be able to travel when I want to travel. I want to be able to do certain things when I want to do them. So,
Yeah.
that's important. But I have areas that affect me more so. Like it was something else you were saying earlier about limiting beliefs.
Hmm.
That's that's a real just from my childhood. That's something that I deal with, and it's like okay, let's that needs to be dealt with. And whereas you think, okay, I've dealt with that, yeah, I'm good there. No, you're not because there's going to be triggers. There's
Yep.
going to be triggers. So that's just something. So I'm telling you, there's been a lot of grief this past year, and I was just going, 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 going. And within certain things happening, I was making a lot of decisions that man didn't make sense. And I'm like, what in the world? Like, what were you thinking?
Yeah.
But it was a derivative
But
from
even with that, yeah, even with that, it's important to give ourselves grace and give
thank
ourselves
you,
space to
girl.
know that it's okay to make mistakes. It is okay to, not get things right because we're always doing the best we can with what we have. And
Yeah,
sometimes we're literally just in survival mode.
yeah,
All we can do is, just get by. Just,
yeah,
the best thing that we can do right now is the best thing that we can do. But it's important for
yeah,
us to be able to forgive ourselves and give
yes.
ourselves
That
grace.
I'm gonna take that with me 100% because I've heard it so many times, and it's like
Hmm.
I must start doing that, giving myself grace. And I think that that's a lot of trying to be controlled, trying to I got this. I got this. I got this. I raised three children. I have a couple of degrees. I blah 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 blah. I got this. But that can't just that's not the definition of you as a whole. So
Absolutely.
yeah,
Your decisions do not have to define your being. You can say, "Oh, I made a mistake," but you don't have to take it on as you being a mistake or you being a failure. You can, have an
exactly.
experience where, you did something that, might not have been the best thing to do, but it was still an opportunity for you to learn. It
Yeah.
was still an opportunity for you to grow, and it was an opportunity for you to be able to have a story, a lesson for you to share with somebody else.
Yeah.
So definitely reminding yourself that you don't have to be perfect. Like that that's
That's
the thing when it comes to being women, when it comes to being black women, like we were conditioned to believe that we had to be perfect, always had to be put together, always had to, be the one to show up to be the strong friend. But that is such a toxic belief, and it breaks us down and gets us to the point of burnout, gets us to the place of, when we are experiencing those health issues, is rooted from these experiences that we've had where we felt like we've always had to be the backbone for people, where we always had to show up and get things right and do things right and be perfect, when yes, God didn't make any mistakes when He made any of us,
That's
but
right.
He is not expecting us to always be perfect, to always get it right. Because if that was the case, we wouldn't need Him.
That's
So,
right. That's right. That is so true. So true. Lord have mercy.
so I see Janine just joined us. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. We are wrapping up our five bodies awareness assessment. We just during this session we just check in with one body that might be speaking the loudest or might need the most attention from us right now, just to kind of see what it's feeling, what it looks like, what it needs in this moment. Again, this is something that you can do at any time with all five or just one or two of the different aspects of who you are, but really just checking in with being able to personalize and be more intentional about your soul care, utilizing this five bodies awareness. But we were just discussing that and the different aspects of that. But something else you said, Kenyana, as far as the financial, you mentioned like childhood stuff.
Yeah.
I am also certified in early childhood development. So that age range from 0 to 7, that is where we pick up how we show up in relationships
Mm.
from the experiences
Mm.
that we have with our caregivers, from the teachers, the
Yeah.
people that were closest to us. That is how we unintentionally, okay, and
Yeah.
more subconsciously relate to other people unless we're intentional about being aware of it. That
Mm.
is why, certain people, when it comes to their finances, they literally just, you know what, I'm not going to deal with it. I'm just going to swipe the card. And if it go through,
Mm.
it's going to go
Mm.
through. I'm not going to check. I'm not going like, it's because of those experiences that they
Mm.
had from the
Mm.
zero to
Mm.
seven age range that condition the program to believe that that's how you relate to money or that's how you
Mm.
relate to other people. They might have a more aggressive communication style. And this is something that I'm learning even in business. You might
Mm.
have a certain communication style with people and a different communication style. Like for me, I realized I'm a very good communicator. I can speak, I can share, I can do certain things. But when it came to my business, I was having a conversation with one of my accountability partners, and I realized I have a more passive communication style when it comes to sales in my business.
Mm.
And that is because of my past experiences. That is because of what I saw, what I experienced in past with past businesses. So I've leaned more to a passive way of selling. But when it comes to business, it's important for you to be intentional and to be assertive in your communication style so people
Mm.
understand I'm here to make some money. I have a business.
Right.
I'm here to make some money. Like, yes, I'm here to make impact. I'm here to pour into you. I'm here to give. I'm here to serve. But I have a business and I'm here to make money. So it's about
Mm.
that balance of, okay, how am I showing up in this area of my life? Am I being more passive in this area? Am I being more aggressive in this area? Or am I being intentional about being assertive? And sometimes it
Mm.
does call for you to be passive in certain areas in certain ways. But the more intentional you can be and the more aware you can be, the more you'll show up in a way that is aligned for the moment, that is aligned for the
Mm.
activity or the thing that is going on right now. So
Mm.
I definitely wanted to share that because that was something that I realized very recently this past week. Like,
Mm.
oh, that's why I'm not making the money that I want to make in my business because I'm being so passive about it instead of
Right.
being intentional with saying, like, yes, I literally can change your life because God has given me these healing gifts, these abilities, this wisdom, this knowledge. But I'm downplaying it because I'm like, I don't want to be too pushy. I don't want to be too aggressive. But it's a balance. So, let's see. Janine, did you have any questions? Anything that you wanted to share? If you wanted to check in and introduce yourself, feel free to do that as well. You can either come off mute or drop it in the chat. Either one is fine. I'll check the chat to see if she drops anything. But this happiness scale, I absolutely am like ecstatic about.
Mm.
I was watching this video and this guy was basically talking about happiness being on a spectrum, like being on a
Mm.
scale. But in order for us to understand or get to this place of happiness in all ways, we got to go through this scale. We got to know what unhappiness feels like in order to really and truly embrace happiness. So going from, you can check in again, these are just tools, resources for you to use to check in with, where you are in your relationships, where you are with the different aspects of yourself, where you are financially, where you are mentally and emotionally, and really see, okay, if I'm unhappy in all ways when it comes to my relationships, how can I just make a slight shift and changes in my life to get to unhappy in some ways? We try to go from unhappy in every way to happy in all ways, and we burn out, we overwork, we overdo. But all it takes is a slight shift, a slight perspective change to go from one space to another in any and every area of our lives. I literally had an accountability call last week, and it was just a reminder of what God had been showing me about the gifts and the abilities that He's, using me for. So she was saying how she, was just so unhappy because she always felt like somebody needed something from her. She just got a promotion on her job. And of course, with a promotion comes extra responsibilities, extra duties, extra things. Being a wife, being a mom, being an entrepreneur, having all these different roles and responsibilities, she constantly was feeling put, constantly was feeling burdened and bogged down. And it was just a matter of me sharing with her a perspective shift. And she was literally in tears, like, thank you so much. You literally just changed my life. And a lot of times we feel like the work has to be hard, it has to take a long time. But sometimes all you need is a perspective shift. All you need is to see things in a different way so that you can go from being unhappy in every way, and whether it's financially, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, to seeing, okay, I get to choose. I get to choose how I'm showing up. I get to choose how I see this situation. I get to choose how I respond to this situation, and not allow it to dictate how I am and who I am, so that I can move forward in a way that is aligned, that is beneficial for me and everyone involved. So when using the happiness scale, again, it's really, you can use muscle testing to check in to see where you are with whatever you're working on, or whatever. You can go from, use the five bodies awareness, or if you're going through a situation or circumstance in a relationship, or on your job, or with your business, just using this as a tool to check in and see where you are. And even if, okay, if I'm unhappy in some ways, if I'm content with that in this season, that is a-okay. You don't always have to be striving for more. You don't always have to be working for more. You can say, you know what, I'm content with where I am on the happiness scale with this. It's just about that awareness and knowing, okay, it might be an area that comes up later on for me to work on, or, it might be something for me to work on right now. So again, this happiness scale is just a tool, another tool for you to customize and personalize your self-care, your soul care, to know what you and your being needs. Questions about the happiness scale?
No, but I like it.
Yes. Yes, I had the vision for it, but when my VA, she put this slide together, I was like, yes, like that's it, like literally, like that's what I saw in my vision. So even my mom, I was talking about it on another one of my events. She was like, "Ooh," she was like, "I like that. Send that to me, please."
Yeah. Mm.
So yes, that is the happiness scale. Another tool. I need to see if I have my planner. So I mentioned in the beginning that I am an author. I have a 30-day calm life planner, and this might be something that will be supportive for you, Kenyana, as you
Mhm.
talked about just wanting to have a more calm life. But this calm method came from people asking me, how do you do so much? How do you get so much done? How do you achieve so much? And it's really this calm method that God literally showed me, like, this is how this is how I've given you the ability to do so much, to accomplish so much, and to still show up and shine for
Mhm.
other people,
Mhm.
giving from your overflow, and not and being able to keep what's in my cup for me. So using a calm method for creating a self-care plan for your whole self. Again, pick the body that you want to focus on based on the assessment, or bodies if you want to use it to, incorporate one or two into your self-care or soul care plan. But really being intentional about, what, this is what I'm going to focus on for this month or this week
Mhm.
or this day. And using the C is checking in with God, source, higher power, to see and address those limiting beliefs that might be coming up in that area of your life. Because what I realized and what I've been learning is that when it comes to the different challenges that we experience in our lives, the root of it is a limiting belief that we picked up from that 0 to 7 age range that we might not even
Mm,
be aware of.
mhm,
So the more intentional we can be about checking in with God, using that muscle testing tool to address those limiting beliefs and see where this issue that I'm having, a recurring issue, whether it's finances or relationships or whatever the case may be, where does that limiting belief come from? What is the limiting belief? Where is it coming from? And how can I shift this belief to one that is going to serve and support my growth and me overcoming this challenge in my life? So the C is checking with God, source, higher power and authority, using muscle testing to address these limited beliefs from that specific area that you're focusing on for your self care plan for your whole self. The A is accountability connection. Accountability has been a complete game changer for me. Studies will show that when it comes to your success rate, having accountability takes your success rate from 30 to 40% to 80 to 90% when it comes to having accountability in your life. A lot of times we're taught, conditioned to believe that we got to do everything on our own. But for me, having spaces like the co working and accountability session, having other groups and spaces where I'm showing up and I'm able to be my most authentic self, being vulnerable, being able to share my challenges, that gives me the opportunity to grow because people are seeing, oh, this is what she's working on. And they're going to say, hey, sis, you said you were working on your finances. How did
mm.
you do? What's
Yes,
going on? How can we support? What do you need? And being able to see, okay, who can I reach out to? Who is doing something similar or, has the wisdom, knowledge, insight, information, or resources that is going to be able to support me with this focus, this self care focus. So again, you can use muscle testing to see who to reach out to. It might be someone here today. It might be to join, like I was talking about the financial portion, joining the Healed Money movement to really get support and accountability for where you are in your financial journey. Um, so that's the C, the A, the L is to look at what's working and what's not working. It's important for us to be intentional about reflecting and assessing on what we're doing, our atomic habits or the slight shift, the focusing on habits versus focusing on the outcome. And that for me has definitely been really supportive because I used to focus on, okay, specifically, for example, with my weight release. I was focused on the number on the scale. And if it will fluctuate, I would feel like, oh, I'm having success or I'm a failure. But the more
mm,
I focused on the habits of, okay, let me make sure I'm getting my 6 to 8 hours of sleep. Let me make sure I'm getting my water in. Let me make sure, working out 4 to 5 times a week, closing my fitness rings. That was more supportive than focusing on the outcome
yeah,
because I was able to see and track. I use a habit tracker where I'm able to see, oh, in different seasons or different, parts of my feminine cycle where, okay, I need to rest during this time. I don't
yes,
have as much energy
yes,
during this time. Let me go ahead and give myself grace and rest during this time
yes,
and not feel like, oh, I have to show up. I have to get my workout done. I have to do XYZ.
yes,
No, in this season, in this week, my body needs rest. And the more intentional we
mm,
can be about checking in with our habits and not so focused on the outcome or the quote unquote consistency, feeling like, oh, I got to do it every day. No, it's important for us to be intentional and being guided by what our body and our being is telling us
yes,
versus just saying, oh, I got to show up, I got to do it, I got to get it done.
yes,
So really looking at what habits have been working and what habits have not been working and being open to, a flow and a fluctuation of how things go in different seasons of your life and different seasons of your cycle as a woman. So CALM, the M stands for make adjustments. When you're creating your soul care action plan, it's important to know that things will change. Just like the seasons change, just like your body change, just like situations and circumstances change, your finances may change. So just understanding that It's okay to pivot. It's okay to make adjustments. It's okay to make changes. It's okay to be flexible when it comes to the plan that you created. Because, you might say, oh, this month I'm going to focus on the mental and emotional, and something might happen financially where you got to pivot to say, okay, now I need to focus on my finances. And that's okay. The more aware we can be, the more intentional we can be about checking in and tuning in on a regular basis, we'll see where pivot and adjustments need to be made. So that is the calm method. Again, it is in my 30-day calm life planner. This literally, like I said, the idea came after people kept asking me, like, how do you get so much done? How do you stay so calm? Like you saw in the beginning when my babies came in the room and I
Yeah,
could have went on mute and yelled at them. It was like, you know what, let me just
right. Just
let me just stay calm. Let me stay in my zone. And that's where this came from. I was literally like, I have a whiteboard in my shower because the shower is one of the places I get a lot of downloads.
okay, good, good.
So I put the whiteboard in my shower, and literally I'm in the shower and the question came up again, like, how do you get so much done? And I'm like, okay, God, like, show me. It's obvious that people are constantly asking me this question,
Mm,
like, show me what it is. And he gave me this calm method, and I think it was like from the idea or the download that he gave me to actually self-publishing this was like a 7-day period. So it really came together. It was definitely his guidance and his work for this. So definitely check it out. Um it's on Amazon. It
okay,
will give you weekly guided questions as well as daily guided questions. It'll give you the daily page to work on, and then at the end of the week you can kind of go back and reflect using a weekly page. So definitely a tool to really support you with, your season of healing and just being able to focus on your nourishment. That's my 3-year-old.
mm,
um so I did mention the Healed Money movement earlier today. It is a space and place for us to really work on our relationship with money, especially this month being focused on making money moves and building wealth with ease. The Healed Money movement, you're able to join for your first month for $11. It's usually $22 a month. I try to make, especially stuff like this when it comes to finances, very accessible and affordable so that we can be there to support and encourage one another when it comes to our financial journey. It's more than just the money that we'll work on, because we mentioned when it comes to our finances, it's a reflection of our
mm,
relationship with
yes,
ourselves. It's a reflection of the experiences that we had from childhood. So yes, money is in the name, but that's not the sole focus
mm,
of the Healed Money movement. So I will drop the link to that in the chat. Um,
okay, good.
but I want to know if you have any questions, and I want your feedback as well. So I'll drop the link to the feedback form in the chat as well. Let me stop sharing so I can get these links. But let me know um, if you have any questions, anything like that, while I'm getting these links. And then I would drop the link to the feedback form. Again, with joining the Healed Money movement, use a code SOUL, and then your first month will be $11. Escape. And that is the feedback form. I would definitely love to get your feedback to see how I can continue to improve these events, what would be most supportive. Um, and I can go back to the slides now. All right. So, did you have any questions? Anything else that came up? Oh, I see the chat. Thank you so much. This presentation is a game changer. Yes, I appreciate you.
You're
Thank you so
welcome.
much for
Thank
being
you.
here. Yes, for sticking through with me. Like I tell people all the time, like I'm not going to. I used to be the type of person like, oh, X amount of people didn't show up, so I'm not going to. But I truly believe that even if it's just one person, it was meant for that person to be there to get what I have to share. So if you ever come to one of my other events and it's just me and you know we still gonna rock and roll, okay?
That's right. I'm with it.
So, yes, I would love to hear. Take a moment to reflect. What is one word that best describes your experience here tonight?
Oh, you asking me?
Mm,
Okay,
yes.
so I was just it was I think it was one of those questions that's similar on the
Oh, on
um
the feedback form,
on the
yeah.
feedback form. And so I was just answering that one too. I think a lot of the techniques, a lot of the calming techniques, and like the whole loop technique. What's the name of that one?
Muscle testing.
The muscle testing. Though a lot of the techniques for me were like really very helpful. And I plan on incorporating a lot of those, and I want to try to do it daily till it becomes habit. So I did. I took a picture of a couple of the slides, but I wrote down a whole bunch. And I do plan to return for the next meeting. So I think that was the biggest takeaway for me was a lot of the techniques and tools that you provided that can just help us in our everyday life, as opposed to just like we were saying earlier, going through the motions or just being on autopilot and trying to get from one day to the next, but being more intentional about how our day looks or how it can turn out. Like, okay, I'm gonna start this way. We get up and we read our Bible and we pray, and then you go about the day, or you may exercise, but there's other things we need to speak to the
Hmm.
total man. So I really appreciate this.
Yes, thank you so much. I appreciate you for being here tonight. As
Oh, you said
always,
one word. God, I don't be having no one
no,
word.
it's okay. It's
I
okay.
just read that. I'm like, girl, what are you talking about? One word. But yeah, I really appreciate really just everything. And the techniques were paramount.
Yes, I love it. I'm so glad you were here. I'm so glad you were able to, get this insight
Mm,
so that you can
yeah,
continue to personalize and really be intentional about your soul care.
yeah,
So that you can show up and share from your overflow and not feel like you got to do everything and be everything for
yes.
everybody. Okay.
That's it right there. Sharing from the overflow. That's it. This a
Absolutely.
journey. I'm on it.
Oh, absolutely. It's definitely a journey.
Mm,
It's an unlearning and a relearning. It's a
yes,
unprogramming and a reprogramming. Because again, that 0 to 7 age range, we were programmed to do things a certain way or to see things a certain way. But the
yeah,
more intentional we can be about checking in to see where did this even come from? Why do I even do this?
yeah,
Why is this a thing? Like,
yes. You were saying something earlier. Just real fast. You was talking about finances and stuff, and how some people just wired like, well, I'm just gonna swipe the card, da 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 da. I know, I'm gonna say my mother. That's my mother is like
mhm,
that. And I'm learning. So it's just so many things. I'm learning how to just allow her to just be her and be patient, because I do get frustrated and I want to say things, and I say some things, but not as much as I used to or get frustrated. But it's like, you want the person to understand these things catch up with you. And then when you hear them say, yeah, mom, I'm struggling, my finances, this and that and the other. Okay, what could you have done differently, this month? And so we were talking earlier, and she was saying, yeah, I gotta try to, and I've used this, and when people start using credit cards to pay bills,
mm,
that kind of bothers me a little bit. So she was telling me that, and I said, and she was like, yeah, and I did too much. I did a little bit too much at Macy's and this, that, and other. Now there's a Macy's near her that's going out of business. And
Mhm.
she went in there and she was supposed to, oh, I'm gonna go check them out, see what they got going on. That was a couple times. Okay, okay, you know. But she went in there 6 times before they closed. And she was in there the last day that they were closing and calling me on the FaceTime and everything. And I'm like, what are you getting? What do you need? So then when she mentioned that today that she overdid it a little bit at Macy's and this, that, and the other, man, I wanted to just get all, annoyed and stuff, but I didn't. I said, "Mom," when you get finished paying off the Macy's card, I said, you need to let them go. It's not like you're gonna go further looking for another Macy's. This is no longer near you. You let that go. Well, yeah, I do something, I'm gonna do something like that, da 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 da. But then she mentioned she used her credit card to pay a bill and to pay off some of the Macy's. And I'm like, what? So I was trying to point out to her, listen, these things, whatever you have that, when you're not here, probate is going to make sure you pay those bills.
Mhm.
And so you're leaving a stress for someone else,
Mhm.
me. So I think about those things and it's just like, but I believe that it's a trauma response.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So,
Absolutely. It was something that she experienced from that 0 to 7 age range that made her believe that, it's okay to go ahead and indulge. It's a little sad going on. Let
yeah,
me go ahead and go in here. Or it might be her coping response.
it
It
is.
might be how she
I
copes to stop.
recognize it. I recognize
Hmm.
that. And it has, and I just say, even from the 0 to 7, it has gotten work because when we don't deal with these things,
Hmm. It's going
it,
to compound. The effect
yes,
is going to
it
compound.
comes out in different ways. And so now it's just worse. Like you have a 1 bedroom place that you stay in. What are you doing with all this stuff? Where are you putting all this stuff? And then you start dispersing it, and somebody need to hurry up and come get this. And you're buying things to get, what are you doing? That's so I'm really like, let me get in here and do the work because I can't be like that. I don't want to be that way.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
that's
Yep,
yeah,
we're
that's
learning to break the cycle. We're learning to heal so that the next generation can heal. And even seeing you do something different, your mom might be like, "Oh, what she got
yeah.
going on over there?"
Oh yeah, that's it because we were on the FaceTime, and she's like, "Oh, while you on the let me see your new table and this that." So she wanted to see something. So I showed her some things, just the house period, and she was like, "Thank you." And when we were hanging up, "Thank you for showing me your lovely place and the furniture and that." And I was like, "Oh, you're welcome." Because so she sees how I live versus how it is there. And so she sees, because I'm minimal. Listen, I
Hmm.
don't need all no 1,000 pieces to cover this house from top to bottom. I don't need it. I don't desire to have that like that. So I'm just like, man, but it concerns me. But it's at this age for her, it's nothing I can really do
Yeah.
outside of just saying the things like I just was telling her. I said, well, listen, because of the climate that we're in, I said savings is like everything to me. Like it's paramount. It's a must. This past, I did something this past couple months that I really struggled with really bad. A vehicle that I purchased myself 2021, I I gave it up so that I
Hmm.
could get some of my money back and put it back
Yeah.
into my savings. And I was struggling with it so bad. And then when she saw the vehicle that I got in place, she was like, "That's like a new." She was like, "That's a new car." She was like, "That's beautiful." And I thank God. I'm grateful. But man, I struggled to let that vehicle go. I really did because I was just like, but I'm aware of the climate that we're in, and I think about these things, and that's probably a trauma response for me.
Yeah.
How I view finances.
Yeah. Yeah, and muscle testing that will come in handy too because a lot of times for me, before I really tapped in and tuned into really using muscle testing, I was like trying to logic my way through things. I was overthinking through things. But when I check in, if something is a yes, it's a yes, or if it's a no, it's a no. I don't really overthink it too much. I really don't think too much more
Yeah,
into it. If it's a yes, it's a yes. I'm gonna go ahead and move forward with it. If it's a no, it's a no. And
and that's that.
it just is what it
It is
is.
what it is. Well, I think what the thing that sold me, what made me when I was releasing the vehicle, this big seller was, okay, I'm gonna get my money back and put it back into my account. So I was I was happy about that aspect. But then the car that I ended up getting to replace, it had less miles on there than my actual car.
Wow.
And I was like, even though it was a lesser, it was lesser in years,
Hmm.
my vehicle, but it had less miles. And I was like, okay, Lord, thank you. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, this will work. And it's a it's a nice car. People, oh, that's nice. Oh my god. But I was, because I do tend to second guess. I was like, oh no, why am I doing this and that? But I had to keep telling myself, you need to do something that's going to benefit, because you don't, because look what's going on. So you need, so I that's just I know that's a trauma response. Now that we talk about it, I'm like, yeah, finances, because I've seen too much, and especially how my mother does things. I'm like,
Hmm.
I just, yeah, that's a trauma response for
Yep,
sure.
we are rewriting
Yeah,
the script. We are breaking
yeah,
chains. We are, doing things differently than what we saw, than what we experienced,
yeah,
so that future generations, people that, we come in contact with, are able to see, like, oh, I don't have to be like my parents just because that's how I was raised, or I don't have to be like
exactly.
my family just because that's what everybody else is doing. Like, I can
Yeah,
literally shift and change things and do things differently, even if it's not something that I've ever seen done before.
yes.
So
Mm. Amen. Well,
I
thank you,
love
Miss
it.
Lisa. I look forward to the next one. Um, I don't know. I'm gonna find you somewhere. God be done sent you a message.
Yes. Oh, I'll drop my email address too.
Oh, okay. Thank
Hello
you. Thank you.
at
Let me
jalisahardy.com.
go here. Let me
And
get.
if you want to set up, it's on my website too. If you want to set up a discovery call to see, if you want additional support as far as those
Yes.
limiting beliefs, as far as your finances, feel free to set up a discovery call so I can
Yes.
further support you, because that's, you don't have to do it alone. You do not have to do it alone.
Right. Right. And that's because I'm used to being the person for everybody else, but not having someone for me
Yes, absolutely. And I know
outside
it's
of my
not by
outside.
happenstance or not by coincidence that you were here tonight, that it was
Yeah.
just me and you. Janine was on here for a quick second, but we got what we
Yeah.
needed from this experience. So thank you as always. Thank you so much
Yes,
for your
ma'am.
support. And
Thank you. You're
as I
welcome.
yes, as I end all my videos, if nobody told you today, I love you, I see you, and I'm so proud of you just for being you. You are enough, you are worthy, you are valuable just as you are. Don't let anyone, any experience or circumstance take away or add to that, because that's not who gave it to you. You are born valuable, enough, and worthy, and it's limitless. So
Thank you.
thank you
I
again for
accept.
being here. And we'll be in touch. You have my email address, and I look forward to speaking with you soon.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. Have a blessed evening. Now,
You're
get them babies in there,
welcome. You
unlock
too.
that door.
Yes.